I had offered a few memories, and one in particular I forgot, and it's a very incredible pastime of our dear Aindra Prabhu. It was during the years when Aindra Prabhu was doing the midnight kirtan to welcome the new year. And it was just so amazing, just even remembering it, I'm getting goosebumps. And we would all go in, it was very mystical, the lights were low, and Aindra Prabhu, he would develop like this crescendo. He would start out kind of slow, and everybody would be in that mood, and then he would slowly, you know how he does it, slowly, and everyone was just riveted and absorbed in the holy name. And I would always remember how when Prabhupada started chanting in Tompkins Square Park back in New York, he would develop a mood, like for hours, Brahmananda says that he would keep with the same tune. It was about going into the holy name. It was about just immersing yourself in the sounds of the holy name. So when I think of Aindra Prabhu, and especially those midnight kirtans, I just remember getting really immersed in like waiting for the new year in our beautiful, wonderful home of Vrindavan, and another year to serve Prabhupada's mission. And here was Aindra Prabhu bringing us all into that meditation. So the story is that I would come over at about 9:30 at night. Usually Aindra Prabhu would start about 9. And I happened to notice, I think it was about 10 actually, 10 p.m., I happened to notice about 7 guests from the MVT guest house, and they were all dressed to go party in what you would call Agra. So they had on really, like the ladies had on tight, black, shiny pants, and the men were all dressed, you know, with all kinds of party clothes on, and they were smoking cigarettes, and they were talking Italian, and they were all ready to go. And I said, you know, there's a big party going on over at the temple. Would you like to come with me and, you know, maybe check it out? And then you can go on to Agra after you know, check out this party. So they said, why not, you know? And so they were all discussing in Italian. I couldn't understand them, but they were all in agreement. So they all followed me over. There was about 7 of them. And so we came in the Radhe Shyam side. I'll never forget this. And so they very tentatively were kind of like, you know how when you're new to something, you kind of like stay in a little small group with whoever your friends are. And so they were all like around the railing there in front of Radhe Shyam. So I was just gently, one of the girls I kind of related to, and kind of gently move them forward so they could kind of get in the not the middle, but you know how if you're on the outside, it's just like if you're on the outside of the honey, it's hard to really taste it, but you want to get more on the inside. You know, like all of you beautiful 24-hour kirtan boys. By the way, we'll just stop this little pastime as all the Maha rose petals fall from the sky on all the 24-hour kirtan boys. Haribo! So these 7 Italian devotees, they were right there, and they started tapping their fingers on the railing. They started moving about. I mean, you can't help it. If you're in an Aindra kirtan, you just can't help but move. And they were looking at each other. And then I showed them the sign, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra sign. And you know how when people first start out, you know, Hare Krishna, Rama Krishna, Hari Hari, and they were trying to get it. And what was so amazing to me, and I've seen it many times before, that once they graduated to, you know, actually getting it, then they were able to turn around and just focus on Aindra and the Kirtaniyas, and they had learned it, you know, they were really proud of themselves once they had learned the Maha Mantra. Some of them didn't get it so quickly, But I was expecting them to leave. I thought they would just come and get a taste of the honey and then, put the lid back on and then go walk back out. But they stayed. They stayed all the way till midnight when Aindra is just exploding and all the kirtaneers are exploding and there's just like this explosion of Nam all over the temple, and you can almost feel Prabhupada tapping his toes from the Vyasasan, the Tamal tree is swaying, Tulsi swaying, and everybody just that look on their face of total immersion into one of Aindra Prabhu's kirtans. And so they stayed all the way to midnight and then some to like 12:30 or so. And I was just like exhausted, I have to get up early for the morning program. And I was like, okay, I got to go back home. And thank you, Krishna, for letting me enter another new year here in Vrindavan. And I felt so grateful to Prabhupada. I felt so grateful to Prabhupada, to our Lords, to all of you, that we get this very sacred opportunity to share the holy names of Krishna with whoever comes into the temple. And Aindra Prabhu was such an empowered leader of giving that taste of the holy name to whomever, from wherever, whenever. And I'm very grateful to Aindra Prabhu for his friendship. We had a kind of a funny friendship. And I'm very grateful that those 7 Italians, who knows what happened to them after they left, but they'll never, ever, ever forget that kirtan from Aindra Prabhu. Haribo!
Jai. Thank you to Mataji for her offering. Now we have one of the last e-offering, His Grace Gopal Prabhu. He sent a video offering for Aindra Prabhu. And now we'll play it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Panchakopatrubhyasya kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Maritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So today we are celebrating Aindra Prabhu's 13th Disappearance Day. He would have been about 70 years old in 2023, but he left us at the age of 57. Interesting thing I want to Hare Krishna. Panchakopatrubhyasya kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Maritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So today we are celebrating Aindra Prabhu's 13th Disappearance Day. He would have been about 70 years old in 2023, but he left us at the age of 57. Interesting thing I wanted to share with all the devotees, this is a picture of Aindra Prabhu. You can see clearly. My daughter drew this for me on my birthday, so that can give you an indication of the impact Aindra Prabhu has had in my life. Now for my birthday present, I get a drawing of Aindra Prabhu. So Aindra Prabhu, please accept my humble dandavats at your 24 years of selfless service in Sri Vrindavan Dham by the performance of the Yugadama Harinam Sankirtan. Kali Yuga's most fortunate blessing upon us. Of course, and that we also have Srila Bhagavatam, which is considered non-different from Lord Krishna in this age of Kali. during your time with us here, especially in Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir, your re-establishment of the 24-hour kirtan affected the whole world. I would say even beyond the world of ISKCON devotees and the world of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, your commitment and dedication to the 24-hour kirtan and its re-establishment has left a legacy. Especially now, so many pilgrims are visiting Vrindavan, cannot even get in the temple room. You cannot even get into Vrindavan. When I plan a trip to Vrindavan, I try to plan somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday. I have to check it's not an Ekadasi or a full moon. I have to make sure I'm arriving late at night or early morning, otherwise you cannot even get in the vehicle. It's not possible. You'll have to get out your vehicle and walk with your bags. That's how busy Vrindavan has become, 365 days a year. And I would say that's all glories to Aindra Prabhu's pure chanting in Krishna Balaram Mandir. And of course, Srila Prabhupada establishing Krishna Balaram Mandir, which the local people call Angrez Mandir. Recently, while visiting Vrindavan, some pilgrims approached the kirtan and said, "Fast karo, fast karo." Like they want to go fast. Joldi karo, fast. And I'm like, what? We used to do these nice 2-tal beats, very heartfelt, melodic kirtans, but now the pilgrims, they just want to chant and dance. Why? Because Angrez Mandir or Krishna Balaram Mandir, ISKCON Mandir, Vrindavan has become known for life. And life means chanting and dancing and Sankirtan. Very simple. And the pilgrims really get a blissful experience from that. Aindra Prabhu set a very strict life of a renunciate, not a false fake renunciate, a very true renounced disciple of Srila Prabhupada, living in the Brahmachari ashram of Krishna Balaram Mandir in room number 89. He never left that room. He sometimes would have to go to Delhi for some work to do with his visa or some commitments to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, but he never left that room until I got him to Mayapur. And then of course he stayed with me in my room, which I'm very fortunate and blessed to have had his association. I observed in the years I was with Aindra Prabhu, many years, his practice of Nava Anga Bhakti, the 9 limbs of devotional service, Pancha Anga Bhakti, was completed always with the expression of Harinam Sankirtan. On the weekends, he would do Shringar Seva, or dress Radha Shyamasundar, and then after completing his service, he would sit in front of their lordships and chant Sankirtan. Sometimes after Bhagavatam class, he would chant for even up to an hour. And he would say that Nava Anga Bhakti is completed by the performance of Sankirtan. I have so many beautiful memories of Aindra Prabhu, and it's difficult to find out the most memorable. So many. So many kirtans every day for many years and years. In sickness or in health, Aindra Prabhu did his service with money or no money, with men or no men. He was committed to performing the Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan, for richer or for poor, until his death and departure from this mortal world. He gave himself unconditionally to the Yuga Dharma and the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He was not interested in name, fame, profit, adoration, and distinction. He was only interested in chanting the pure name, Shuddhanam, for the pleasure of Guru Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, and his beloved deities, and Sri Sri Radha Shyamasundar. Seeing the decline of the Yuga Dharma in ISKCON, he spoke up about it, he wrote a book about it, and most importantly, the last 2 chapters of that book, he expressed his heartfelt personal relationship with their lordships. I'm proud to say that the 24-hour kirtan has expanded its capacity, more men, more facilities, and still, by the blessing of Aindra Prabhu, the department is carrying on, and 24-hour kirtan has not stopped. Your close confidant and friend Ram Roy Prabhu has been pushing the Yuga Dharma in New York City since the time of your departure, and it's only going from strength to strength. You personally said that if you had to leave Vrindavan, that you would go to New York City, because Srila Prabhupada considered it the most important place in the world to preach. And Ram Roy Prabhu is now, and his team, acting out and being your instrument in this respect. On this day of Hira Panchami, when Lakshmi Devi comes out of the Sri Mandir in Jagannath Puri, she tries to enter Gundicha, and Lord Jagannath's Pandas close the door on her, and they don't allow her in. And she's sent back to Sri Mandir, which represents Vaikuntha. She could not enter Sri Vrindavan Dham. But somehow you, on this day, got the great blessing to enter the Bhoma Leelas of Lord Krishna in Bhoma Vrindavan. And the great good fortune you got of leaving your body on this day is that you didn't have to go through disease and old age. You were very young, considered very young at that time to leave your body, 57 years old only. But from the first conversation I remember having with you in 1997, it was very clear you wanted to go back home, back to Goloka Vrindavan. And you got your blessing. As tragic and difficult as it is for us to lose your association, your heartfelt desire to go back home to Godhead had been achieved, leaving your body in Sri Vrindavan Dham. No time to waste, don't delay. I remember you used to say, no time to waste, don't delay, making appointments for the holy name today. Go out and do Sankirtan Yagya. I do remember one story. I had returned from Sridhar Mayapur after we had performed Kirtan there for a week. I would stay on for the Mayapur festival. You had come back early with the team. And I was approached by Ram Roy Prabhu saying that Aindra Prabhu has been invited to New York to attend the festival there. And so then Govinda told me the same thing, and then Bhagavad Prana told me the same thing. I had a very long conversation with you about it, and you told me, go to America and preach on my behalf. I'm very happy to see many of your dedicated followers are doing the same and spreading the Yuga Dharma in Kali Yuga. All glories to Aindra Prabhu's departure, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and the 24-hour Kirtan. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
पापा यहाँ से अपना प्लॉट शुरू होता है. मैं आपको लेआउट दिखाता हूँ. ये आपका रूम और ये साथ में बैल्कनी और इस मिट्टी.
Thank you, Gopal. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gopal Prabhu, for his offering. Now we would request Her Grace Padmavati Mataji to say a few words. And we would keep the offering like short and quick so we can squeeze few more devotees before we can conclude the offering session, and then we can move to Pushpanjali. Hare Krishna.
Om Gyanatmirandasya Gyananganachalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Yes, some devotees ask me to speak. Actually I'm very shy to speak in front of so many devotees, but some devotees was asking me to tell something because I'm living in Vrindavan for a long time and I had some association with Aindra Prabhu, and during the more like 10 years, every day I saw him in the temple. I met him in the pujari room because I'm also doing seva in Hare Krishna, in for DTs in DT department, and we had actually so much association with Aindra Prabhu, and I miss so much association with him, because that time I was so shy him. Actually, Aindra Prabhu for me it was very sublime, very special, and I always was so shy to talk to him, and with some others, sometimes I was coming in touch with him because the last few years when Aindra Prabhu was here, I was making this bouquet, these flowers for Radharani Shimasundar hand and Lalita Vishaka. And Aindra Prabhu very often was asking us to bring some flower for decorations. And sometimes he was asking some particular flowers. I remember one time he was asking the champa, and it was not the seasons. I was running everywhere to looking for this champa. Nowhere, no any champa, and I was so sad what to do, because I want to fulfill his desire to bring champa. And the morning time, the Mataji said to me, you bring to Aindra Prabhu these flowers. And I said, oh, I didn't get the champa. And she said, I can draw the champa. I'm the artist. And I said, okay, you draw. And I gave her the piece of the paper. She drew the 3 big champas, very beautiful champas. And I put in the basket, which we was usually bringing to Aindra Prabhu with flowers. I put on the bag this picture with champa, and I brought to the Pujari room. I gave to to Aindra Prabhu, and he saw and he said, "What is this?" And I said, "I made this innocent, looks like innocent smile." And I said, "Champa." He was asking for champa, and he was looking at me like this, and then he turned to the Pujari and she thinks she's very clever. And I was so shy. I said, why I did this? Why I did this? He will be angry with me. But Aindra Prabhu was looking, and then he said, oh, maybe it's good, some substitute, at least some substitute. And he went, and I was thinking, why I did this? I was thinking, he will be. And then when Ditis was open, I saw this picture was on the feet of Radharani. He put on the feet of Radharani. And that Mataji was so happy. And we had just sometimes like this pastimes with Aindra Prabhu. And I'm always was looking how he dressed in the deities. I liked so much his style, and I'm missing so much his dancing style. Who remember how Aindra Prabhu was dressing the deities, this dancing style, especially in winter time, all these shadows. It was so wonderful. I'm missing so much his style. And his smile, always he was smile. And every day it was kirtan from 6 to 7. Aindra Prabhu was doing kirtan, and after kirtan, there's so many devotees, so many people were surround him. And 2-3 hours he was preaching. You know, that way to go to Brahmachari ashram, on the right side of the temple in Brahmachari ashram, he was for a few hours, he was preaching because so many people were surrounded him. And I was coming like 7 o'clock. Aindra Prabhu was standing near the temple and preaching, so many people around. And then I come in for last darshan at 8:30. Aindra Prabhu moved for a few meters more and he is standing preaching. And then after last darshan, I see Aindra Prabhu standing on the steps and to the ashram and preaching. He was preaching, you know, full of transcendental knowledge. So much transcendental law was coming from him. And I had the very special opportunity to hear him when he was writing his book. My god sister, Lila Shravani, Aindra Prabhu was asking her to draw the picture for this. You remember that picture? I'm calling it double shade. You know, Gaura Lila and Krishna Lila. It's not came to the book, but she was drawing this picture, and she was taking me to Aindra Prabhu to discuss about this. And I was so astonished when I was hearing how many details, how many things he knows about Radharani, what Radharani likes, how she's standing, how she's sitting, how she must wonder. And I remember he told, because she brought already, she drew the picture, she brought, and he said, this gopi, she cannot sit like this. This is not her nature. You know, he knows so many details about it. He was so absorbed in the Leelas. And that time I was, you know, very shy to ask him many questions. Sometimes I was asking a little bit. And then I was I was missing so much opportunity to have an association with him. And he always was joking with me sometimes. I remember he was given the kirtan evening time from 9 o'clock. And I was never going there because it's too late. But one day Mataji said to me, let's go, there is so nice kirtan, there is so big nectar. And she took me, and I was sitting on the back, before me some Mataji, big Mataji, and I was sitting just hidden, you know, from Aindra Prabhu. And when Kirtan finished, he always was distributing Mahaprasadam from his deities to the devotees. And he started to distribute, he said, everybody come in and take some sweets from my deities, Mahaprasadam from my deities. And everybody came, and I said, I was thinking, I'll not go, I'm shy. And I was sitting like this hidden, and then Aindra Prabhu turned to one Prabhu and he said, you take and give that Mataji, she's trying to be hidden from me. And I always was, you know, shy when he was joking like this. So many scenes was actually, one time he was given, I was teaching in the Gurukul that time, he was given class in the Gurukul. And the class was starting at 10 o'clock, and I had the class, I was teaching that time, and I was thinking, I'm missing Aindra Prabhu class, I love so much his classes. And after class, I was thinking maybe he's still giving, but they asked me to come for some another class, and then they asked me to bring the boys for the prasadam, and it was like about 2 o'clock, and I was think, oh, I miss the Aindra Prabhu class. And then one Mataji said, oh, let's go to Aindra Prabhu class. He's still giving class. It was like more like 4 hours. And we came, and Aindra Prabhu was sitting, the long time he was giving class. He was a little bit tired. And he said, can I sit like this? A little bit like, he said, I don't know what is this, half sitting or half lying. And he was sitting like this. He put his hand like this, and he was continuing to tell about difference between Gopi's mood and Manjari's mood. And in this pose, he was speaking so nice, and I was sitting, I was thinking, he's so transcendental, for his position, how he's sitting, what he's doing. He was full of this nectar, he was full of nectar, he was preaching. And Aindra Prabhu, for me, is like one of the perfect Prabhupada disciples, because he fulfilled the Prabhupada desire to have 24-hour kirtan in Vrindavan. The Prabhupada wants so much this, but it's not so easy to do this, to organize, and Aindra Prabhu did it, and now the followers of Aindra Prabhu, they carry so nice, and we have so many devotees, so many exalted devotees, so many Maharajas. They inspire me so much. My Guru Maharaj inspiring me so much to preach everywhere, and so many another Maharajas, so many devotees. And Aindra Prabhu was very, very special for me. Very, very special. I remember when he left, the first time we was doing this katha about Aindra Prabhu, and everybody was sitting and crying, just crying. Just crying and crying. Thank you so much, Aindra Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Now we would request Her Grace Purnima Mataji to please say a few words.
Hare Krishna. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Shri Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Bhaktaya Namo. Whatever I say, I try to say something about Aindra Prabhu, but if there is something not good, don't take it. When I got married with my husband in '89, before that, we would see Aindra Prabhu, but not so much because I was in Gurukul, we were in Gurukul. But then my husband became a pujari, and then I start noticing Aindra Prabhu more. And then after some time, we would go in the pujari room and get some flowers from Goshala, from here and there, like Padmavati just mentioned also. We would go and look for the flowers, because Aindra Prabhu and my husband, whenever they were dressing together, they wanted flowers, especially Aindra Prabhu. So we would go to Goshala, especially. And in that time there were many snakes there. So we always have to be very careful that no snakes coming. But still, morning 5 o'clock we were going there to get the flowers. And then he would come out with the effulgence, Radhesham's effulgence behind. And he would tell us how to put flowers in there. So he had to put flowers in the effulgence, standing over there. And sometimes he would come, he would like it. Sometimes he would say, no, this is not the right way. You should do like this, like this. And every day we had to do that for him. And he was very happy to see that everything is very nicely decorated. And also the flowers for the decoration for the retist. we would collect different kinds of flower, whatever we were getting, bougainvillea or the star flowers, or sometimes we got from Goshala also something else. So, like this, we were helping in our flower seva, and I had a good fortune actually to go to his room also when I got married with my husband. Few times I went in the beginning, because in the beginning there were not so many devotees going to him. So I was allowed to go with my husband. Not single Matajis were not going, but I was allowed. So I was very fortunate to go to his room, and he would just talk. He would talk and talk and talk, and we would listen. And a few times I was asking questions, he would ask questions, my husband. But he was the one who was talking. And then we did a lot of service for, not for him, but for Radhesham with him. And he was very nice in dressing Shyamasundar. He was good in Radharani also, but Shyamasundar, he was like exquisite dressing he was doing. And it was like Govinda was mentioning, we had a very nice combination, my husband dressing Radharani and Aindra Prabhu dressing Shyamasundar. Whenever we would wait for Saturday and Sunday. They were usually doing it Saturday and Sunday. And that was the beautiful time. And a few times I asked him a few questions and he answered me. One thing I really liked in him was his classes. He was giving so beautiful classes and full of information and full of bhav, and he would inspire you to, yeah, you also want that. I want that. I also want that. So he would sit in the temple room, he would start the class at 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. But he would tell the devotees, if someone wants to go for prasadam, they can go. But many devotees would be just sitting there and listening to him. And almost all the time, his classes would go till 12 o'clock, till Aarti would start. Then he would stop, because then it was not possible for him to speak. But he was like, it's amazing classes he was giving. And it inspired me also to go towards that little bit. And we try also for that. One time I was, after Chandan Yatra, actually just before he left, after Chandan Yatra, he came out of the altar and he was taking darshan and I was standing there. And then he came to me, he said, don't they look so beautiful? I said, yes, they do look very, very beautiful. He said, but look at Shyamasundar. He looks like a chocolate. I feel like taking a bite in. I said, okay, Prabhu. I don't really see him in chocolate, but you may be doing that. That was really, could see his mood. He was so absorbed. He used to come to our house also for Govardhan Puja, our Govardhan Puja, do Kirtan. And when we were asking him for prasadam, he said, no, he has to do his puja still and this and that. But please make a big plate of bhoga for my Nitai Sachisuta. So we used to make a big plate of bhoga for his deities. And this was also our service for his deities. And flower outfit also, when we started making in the beginning, then when he didn't really see, but he just asked me how we're going to do that. So I told him how we're going to do it. But before, in the beginning, it was very difficult. Now they're making nice flower outfits, you know. But in the beginning, we had to take the glue with this Fevicol and stick the flowers with those Fevicols. It was always wet and heavy. And he was always asking how they can wear such a heavy outfit. I said, Prabhu, it's just not possible to do it without, we cannot stick the flowers. And anyway, he was not so happy, but he was doing it. And he always appreciated everybody's service, no matter what it was. He was appreciative, very appreciative. And sometimes, even if you were making some mistake in some things, he would always come and tell us nicely. Not like this, Mataji, you should do like this. Yes, Prabhu. And in this way, he was, we were getting a lot of association. And then his kirtans. I remember we used to go not whole day. I was not going to any kirtan in the evening. 6:30 or 6 or 6:30 he was doing kirtan for 1 hour, half an hour. We would all sit around and have kirtan there. But after some time, of course, I stopped going because it was too much crowded then around him also. It was just not possible to go close to the kirtan group. Because if you're not there, then it's not, you cannot see him. Then if you cannot see him, then you cannot really relish that, because the whole thing was to see him chanting and how he was chanting, and then you get inspired. But sitting behind the pillar, it was not the same thing. And too many people started coming. So I stopped going then. But his kirtan, my daughter grew up with his kirtan. She loved his kirtan so much, and she was very small at that time. She just wanted always to hear his kirtan. So when we were together staying in one room, she wouldn't let me put any other kirtan. Only Aindra's kirtan. Only Aindra's kirtan. No other kirtan was allowed in our room. So I'm very grateful to him, and I pray to him on this day that we can also have a little bit of that mood, what he had, and maybe by his mercy we can reach somewhere. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Now we would request people from ashram, and then Vishaka Mataji, you can conclude the offering in the end. Please, Istoka Krishna Prabhu. He asked like you come first. Jai.
Hare Krishna. Vanshakopatrovhyasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo Sripad Aindra Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. I haven't been very fortunate to have any personal association with Aindra Prabhu, but I've been fortunate enough to have association with devotees who have had his association. And so by hearing from them about him, and by hearing his lectures, by hearing his kirtans, I've been fortunate to have association with his Vani, with his instructions. And there are many devotees who are very sincerely following in the footsteps of Sripad Aindra Prabhu. And it's one thing to be a follower, to call ourselves a follower of Aindra Prabhu by singing his melodies, and sometimes we might try to imitate his eccentric nature. But a true follower and a perfect follower is someone who really imbibes the mood that Aindra Prabhu is trying to give us, and that he himself had, and really try to follow his instructions in the same way that he was a perfect follower and a perfect disciple to Srila Prabhupada. Even though he himself didn't have much personal association with Srila Prabhupada, but he was able to touch the heart of Srila Prabhupada to an extent that Srila Prabhupada revealed himself to him and empowered him to perform such miraculous feats that are not possible for any ordinary person. So we should really try to be a perfect follower in that line, really preaching to myself here. I was recently reading from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 8th chapter is about Dhruva Maharaj, and there in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada speaks about how Dhruva Maharaj, at one point of his tapasya, he controlled his breathing, and he blocked all the holes of his body. And because he was so powerful, because he was so much connected to the Supreme Lord, by his control of his breathing, the entire universe was not able to breathe. And so then Srila Prabhupada goes on to say that in the same way, the pure devotee is so powerful that by his practice of devotional service, of pure devotional service, and by his practice of Krishna consciousness, he is able to infect the entire universe with Krishna consciousness. And this is what Aindra Prabhu did. He sat in Vrindavan Dham, in the Krishna Balaram Mandir, in front of the deities, and he just chanted, but he chanted so purely and so sincerely that now all over the world, maybe even the universe, who knows, we're having Kirtan Melas, we're having Kirtan programs, we have so many Harinam parties. Ram Roy Prabhu is doing such an amazing Harinam in New York. And all over the world, people are chanting and dancing just because of this one pure devotee that really chanted so sincerely and so purely. So, I'm very, very far from being this perfect follower of Aindra Prabhu. And so I am begging from the lotus feet of Aindra Prabhu and the lotus feet of all the devotees to please bless me and be merciful unto me, so that I may serve in a way that's pleasing to Aindra Prabhu and in a way that's pleasing to Radhesham. Aindra Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Now we'd request Sharad Bihari Prabhu, please say a few words, and then we can invite a few more devotees to squeeze in and then conclude.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutare Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachayane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Deshtaini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It is said that on the appearance and disappearance day of a great Vaishnava, it is very auspicious to glorify and remember and seek the blessings and mercy of such a Acharya. But out of these two, the disappearance day is considered to be more auspicious, because on the disappearance day, the true mercy of the devotee is revealed to this world. The true glory is revealed to this world, and it's revealed by his activities in this world, his writings, his book, his kirtan, his lectures, his service, the memories that many devotees who were close to him, close to Aindra Prabhu had, and his deities, Shishinitai Sajisuta, that Aindra Prabhu has left for us. So in this way, even though he is physically not present, Sripad Aindra Prabhu is showering a flow of mercy unto this world. Whether we know it or not, that flow of mercy is there. The Bhagavatam mentions that by the rising and setting of the sun is decreasing the life of every living entity except for that of a devotee. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says the devotee never dies, he lives in his sound. I personally have not had much association with Aindra Prabhu, but still he is a very integral part of my life. Because of him, many of the boys in a 24-hour kirtan have come to Vrindavan, have decided to take this 24-hour kirtan and make it their life and soul. It is because of him, on the strength of the service to him, that we are able to reside here in such a holy place. I don't think I am qualified to reside in such a holy place, but it is on the strength of the service to the 24-hour kirtan. So in this way, Aindra Prabhu is impacting many people's lives, changing their lives, changing their hearts, even though he is personally not present. On the other hand, the Bhagavatam mentions that Bilevato Urukrama Vikraman Yena Shinvata Kata Pute Narasya Jivasati Nandalikeva Sutana Chopagayati Gata, that those whose ears and tongues are not engaged in Krishna Katha, they are not engaged in chanting the holy names, they are not engaged in discussing Krishna's pastimes, their tongues is like the tongue of a frog, and their ear holes are like the holes of a snake, and their body, even though it's living, is actually dead. So even though they are living, they are dead. Sometimes people like to refer to Aindra Prabhu as being very eccentric. But we should also remember that he was very much in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings. He was very much connected. Even though Srila Prabhupada only mentioned one Jai, he said Jai to him when he was doing kirtan. That was his only interaction with Srila Prabhupada. But still he had a lot of association with Srila Prabhupada in his dreams, and in that way received many instructions. And by making each and every one of those instructions his life and soul, he was always connected with Srila Prabhupada. So it is very wrong to think that what Aindra Prabhu gave us is something different or something separate than what Prabhupada gave us. No, he was very much in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings. And under his instructions, he established this 24-hour kirtan, which is the heart of the Krishna Balaram temple. His Holiness Karamakanana Swami once said that this 24-hour kirtan is the heart of all the kirtan that's happening around the world. There are many kirtan festivals, kirtan programs happening around the world, but this is the heart of all of that. And somebody mentioned to him that, well, you can call it whatever you like. There are many branches of kirtan. This is one branch, and there's another branch in America, and another branch in Europe. And Maharaj said, no, you don't call it whatever you like. This is the heart of all the kirtan happening around the world. He said, if this one dies, everything else dies. So, on this day, I would like to express my gratitude to Srila Aindra Prabhu and seek his blessings and mercy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Srila Prabhu. Now we would request Kartik Tyagi Prabhu, please say a few words. Keep it short. Hare Krishna.
Sripad Aindra Prabhu ki. So ever since in Gurukul we had the tradition of celebrating Aindra Prabhu's appearance day, disappearance day. But then gradually all of us realize what we are doing doesn't make sense until unless we really become authentic with ourselves. So I was just, because I was out of Vrindavan for last couple of days, and I was planning to come here, so I was thinking what kind of ray of hope has Aindra Prabhu acted for all of us. And then there is an example in Ramcharitmanas when Hanumanji, he visits Lanka. He's finding where is Mother Sita. He goes to Ravana's palace and then to Kumkarna's, and then he doesn't find her anywhere. And then eventually he sees a palace. At the front door, Jai Shri Ram is inscribed. And then he goes inside, and then he sees a plant of Tulsi. So he understands, oh, this is a house of a Vaishnava. So there, at that spot, as soon as Vibhishan sees Hanumanji, he says, Binu Hari Kripa Mile Nahi Santa. Without the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord, one can never come in contact with a true sadhu. So that way, I feel just all of us are extremely merciful, and particularly myself. I don't know where I would have been if it wouldn't be for Aindra Prabhu. Krishna's mercy is really causeless in every which way. Like literally there is no cause. That's why it's causeless. So his causeless mercy was such that Aindra Prabhu came, and his association is such majority of us who are present here in the ashram today did not get any association from Aindra Prabhu. But still, just by listening to him, we are able to understand who he truly was. A few days back, we were also discussing how recently people are just trying to get up, like, they understand the externalities of Aindra Prabhu too much. So sometimes people also think, oh, that was the time when Aindra Prabhu had come and he chanted the holy name, and now is not the time. Like imagining just oh, in 2010 that was the time. But it is the same Harinam that even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted, that Aindra Prabhu chanted, and that all of us are chanting in Sri Krishna Balram Mandir. So just like that, it's whoever has the time, please do come and take part in Harinam Sankirtan. Just 2 more minutes. Another point, again I'll quote from Sri Ramcharitmanas. When Lord Ram is going to meet Sabri Mata, he meets her, and then he tells her the 9 processes of devotional service. Like in Bhagavatam, we have how Prahlad Maharaj has instructed the 9 processes of devotional service. Even Lord Ram instructed the 9 processes of devotional service to Sabri Mata. The first step, he says, is Prathama Bhakti Santan Kar Sangha. The first step is to associate with devotees and then gradually hear them. The very interesting point is he revisits this point of association with devotees, but with so much more profundity and depth. In the 7th step again, he says, Satav sammohi majag dekha mote adhik sant kari lekha, means to see me in every part and parcel of this universe, of this creation, and to give more regards to a saint or to a sant. So if we see from that perspective, it becomes so much easier to understand that our Guru Tattva is actually just non-different than Krishna himself. Because Krishna eternally existed, Radhesham has always been there, but it is Krishna, it is through Aindra Prabhu that we are able to get in touch with them. So, whatever Aindra Prabhu has said to us, that is not different than what Gaura Hari has said, in one way. So that way is just a humble request. What I have personally started feeling is, in life, in a spiritual life, once we start giving up things which are not favorable for our bhakti, things just become easier more quickly. And then what Aindra Prabhu, who he was in his entirety, not about his externality, but about who he was internally, that becomes very much easier to understand. So thank you so much, Aindra Prabhu, and thank you to all the wonderful devotees who are coming to the 24-hour Kirtan and in some way or the other giving us encouragement through their words or actions to take up this Harinam Sankirtan process and not just do it externally but internally. Hare Krishna. Shripad Aindra Prabhu ki.
Okay, thank you so much, Karthik Prabhu. Now we would request His Grace Pavan Nitai Prabhu, please say a few words and keep it short. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Firstly, I'm very sorry for the time. The board says Prashadam at 2:30, now it's 2:40. And we have to do Pushpanjali and Arati, so please forgive us for our tardiness. I don't want to say much, because like Prabhu's said, that we haven't had any association externally with Aindra Prabhu. We were too late. But at the same time, they also said so nicely how we do have association through Vani, through his lectures, through his kirtans, and through the kirtan right now, as Karthik nicely pointed out, that the Harinam that we're chanting is the same Harinam that he's chanting, and that's the same Harinam that Lord Chaitanya is chanting, and Nija Sarva Shaktis, all the Shaktis are in this Harinam. So, in one sense, we don't feel that we've missed out, because he left something really wonderful for us. He left many things for us. He left the 24-hour kirtan. He left 3,000 shalagrams. He left Nitai Sajisuta. And it's such a place of shelter. And yes, we can understand him by reading his book, or which we have back there, just a little sales pitch, and also by hearing his lectures and hearing his kirtan. But my personal experience is that if you really want to know Aindra Prabhu, then you have to read Prabhupada's books. And I thought of something which I want to read. It's just a small paragraph from Krishna book. Because, you might see Aindra Prabhu and externally he looks very different. He's very scruffy, he's dressing a little differently, he looks completely out of the crowd. So some people tend to think that, oh, here's someone he's not really following, the ISKCON standard, or he's not really following Prabhupada. Or I've even heard, unfortunately, even in recent times, some devotees say that, oh, he's not following Prabhupada, he's just speaking something different. So one of the most controversial things that he ever did was that 2009 offering, right? In Prabhupada's Disappearance Day. So here's a paragraph from Krishna book, just to show you that he is following Prabhupada 100%. This is the chapter of the Brahmana's wives being delivered. And here, this is the Brahmanas speaking. So we all know the pastime. The Brahmanas rejected the boys because they're Brahmanas. And the wives, being simple-hearted, were able to, reciprocate with the boys very nicely. And they fed them in a very nice way. So then the Brahmanas, they realized that, what was the use of our Brahminical culture? And this is the Brahmanas speaking. To hell with our being born Brahmanas. To hell with our learning all the Vedic literatures. To hell with our performing great sacrifices and observing all the rules and regulations. To hell with our family. To hell with our expert service and performing the rituals exactly according to the descriptions of the scriptures. To hell with it all. For we have not developed transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the speculation of the mind, body, and senses. So this definitely reminds us of something. If you want to know, you can find it on YouTube. But the point I'm trying to get across is that he is completely a follower of Prabhupada. And I went through his book, and there's one section which I thought was brilliant. He says, who cares who the next Ravana of mismanagement is? Perfect management is in Vaikuntha anyway. And I thought, wow, what a personality. How can he think of these things? And then I hear a room conversation with our Srila Prabhupada, where they are complaining to him about one temple president who was here. And Prabhupada laughingly says in Hindi, he says, Jo Lanka mein aayega, wo Ravan ban jayega. Whoever comes to Lanka will become Ravana. So here's a person. We got Aindra Prabhu. We're very lucky. But Aindra Prabhu didn't get an Aindra Prabhu. Aindra Prabhu just had Srila Prabhupada. So his whole existence was based on Srila Prabhupada's books. And you go through his book, you go through whatever he's speaking, he is verbatim quoting Srila Prabhupada so much, so often, as it is. There's this, we saw this video, maybe the last appearance or the last disappearance, where he's speaking, the video is called Speaking About Srimati Radharani. And he says that don't try to approach Krishna, just take the flower and put it in the hand of Radharani. And he speaks for a good 3 or 4 minutes. It is the same, like the words are the same words that Prabhupada spoke in a Radhashtami lecture. And so if you really want to know Aindra Prabhu, if you really want to know who he is, all you have to do is read the Bhaktivedanta purports. And by reading those purports, practically speaking, you can be with him, because this is not some mundane knowledge. You know, we're not just getting some gyan to get liberation. This is Prabhupada's heart, you know. And it's not even Prabhupada's heart. Because where is this to hell with coming from anyway? It's coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. Drig, drig, drig. It's Sanskrit verses. You can go back. And it's Parikshit Maharaj's words. You know, it's Shukadev Goswami's words. So the point is that it gets even more sweeter. It gets even more better. I was just hearing, I was just hearing that Radharani, she sings a specific rag. There's 8.4 million rags. And when she sings a rag, it is so enchanting that her friend, Lalita Sakhi, hears this rag, for example, Bhairavi, and she thinks, wow, how amazing is this? And she thinks, oh, I want to learn this also, you know? And then she learns it from her, but when she sings it, then there is added flavor, because she is, you know, naturally changing it just a little bit. So the base is still Radharani's, but it just slightly changes a little bit, and it becomes unique, and the rag's name changes, you know. And Krishna hears this, and he enjoys it even a little bit more, still remembering Radharani, because she's the one who made this anyway, you know. And then when Lalita sings it, then Rupa Manjari hears it, and when she hears it, she thinks, wow, this is so amazing, you know. And then she sings it, but then when she sings it, then it ever so slightly changes a little again, just slightly, but still keeping the base together, you know. So when Krishna hears it, he remembers Radharani. So our Aindra Prabhu is a perfect representation of Srila Prabhupada. He's added a little bit of his flavor. You know, the way he may speak, or the way he may conduct himself might be a little, you know, attractive to some, and maybe a bit too harsh for others. But you have to look at the substance. What is he presenting? What is he saying? You know, it's not anything different to what we have in our Bhaktivedanta purports. And you have to read Prabhupada's books. You have to hear Prabhupada, and by doing that, then you can understand who Aindra Prabhu is. And when you understand him on this platform, then you can understand all of his activities. Everything clicks. Everything makes sense, you know. And then you can feel separation. It's interesting, you know. We've never met Aindra Prabhu, all of us ashram boys, you know, and the new devotees that are here. But we feel some kind of separation from him, and it's quite wild. Krishna consciousness is so interesting. You can feel separation from something you never externally had any connection with. But from this, then, you know, the Guru teaches you how to love Krishna. Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he says that the Guru's final lesson for the disciple is that he leaves his body. And when he leaves his body, then it teaches the disciple how to really serve. In the presence, in the external presence of the Guru, we may be just doing so that we can get his appreciative words, so that we can be recognized in a public place, you know. But when the Guru is not present, then nobody's watching externally, you know. So then it's based on complete sincerity, you know. It's based on genuinely being real, which is what we heard in Govinda Prabhu's offering, you know, that be real. And that's, on the appearance day, we had Yashomati Mataji. She gave such a nice heartfelt offering. And in that, she said that Aindra Prabhu dared to be himself, which was so nice. It's real, you know, and that's why he's so attractive. We can try to imitate him. We can try to, you know, copy him in this way or that way, but no one is attractive by trying to copy someone else. We're all individually unique, and we all have a individual relationship with Krishna, which is different to every other relationship that everyone else has with Krishna. And Krishna consciousness is so nice that as you chant, your specific relationship that you have and no one else has starts to flourish. And why is there a need to try and imitate someone else? You know, we always stay true to ourselves, we stay sincere, and then you can experience, you know, the association of these personalities. It's not just the exchange of two stool bags, you know, smiling at each other. I mean, these things are obviously there. It's not that I'm not disregarding it entirely, but it's because, you know, I never had it, so I have to make some kind of justification. But it's not, the higher principle is Gauravani. Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatharine. The Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, his form is Gauravani. You know, Prabhupada preached this Gauravani in the West, and Aindra Prabhu is not speaking anything different. This is the only thing that will stay. Everything else will go. Even Aindra Prabhu's room, which we were so fortunate to take shelter of for so many years, such a special place. He practically achieved all perfection in those four walls. And even that room is going to go, you know. So we have to get attached to Gauravani. We have to get attached to the instructions. And that's the most important thing that they leave behind for us. Anyway, I'll stop speaking. Bhadra Kamal Prabhu is here, and he said he has a nice short thing to say, to share with everyone. And then we have Prabhu, who speaks Russian. His English is not so good. Maybe we can have Vishaka Mataji translate for him, and then maybe you could speak a little, and we could stop there, because it's I think it'll be almost 3 by then. So yes, please, Father Kamal Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Sripada Aindra Prabhu ki. I have so many memories with Aindra Prabhu, but I will share with you just when he left this world 3 days before. I had dream with him like near 2005 and 6, but I never tell him. But like 13th of July, I think, after the Kirtan, I don't know why, just this is Krishna planning, or just my mood said, you have to say this dream to him. Then I went to him and said, Prabhu, I had dream with you. He said, okay, what I'm doing there? I said, I saw this is like Chaturmas time, and you have beard, and you are like running very, just like running very, very strongly near Yamuna, and all trees are like bow, like cave, and there is a full moon, and he's like very, very shining, like golden, like with beard and he was like running very fast. Then I just came from inside the tree and just grabbed his hand. And he said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to join Rasa Yatra. I'm going to join Rasa Yatras. Then I said, okay, but why you so much like? He said, because they are waiting for me, I need to go on time, just like that. He said, then he said, can I go with you? He said, no, you are not capable for this. Then he just like this, and he ran. And after 3 days, he left this world. And so, I have so many stories, more about him, but this is maybe next time on our parents' day or like that. Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Bracharини Нирушеши Шунивади Пашти Тядышта. Спасибо большое за возможность сказать что-то. Простите, что я не могу говорить на английском.
Thank you so much for the opportunity for speaking.
На самом деле преданные уже сегодня все сказали, то, что я хотел сказать. Каждый по чуть-чуть.
Everyone already said everything I was going to say, little by little.
Да, я очень благодарен Аиндре Прабху, поэтому все-таки я скажу.
I'm very grateful to Aindra Prabhu, so I will say something.
В России моим основным служением было проповедь и распространение книг.
In Russia, my main service was book distribution and preaching.
И мой духовный учитель очень, в общем, он сказал нам, что мы должны проповедовать именно молодежи, и именно парням.
My spiritual master said that we have to preach to the youth, especially to the male.
Потому что, на самом деле, Прабхупада делал так, он проповедовал молодежи, он привлекал молодежь, потому что если есть молодые люди, то есть жизнь какая-то, есть движение.
This is what Srila Prabhupada did. He was attracting the youth, he was preaching to the youth, because if there is a youth, then there is a life.
И после того, как Прабхупада ушел, сейчас проповедь, разная проповедь есть, и не всегда привлекается молодежь. В основном привлекается не молодежь, как я заметил.
After Srila Prabhupada left, I'm noticing that preaching is going on, but main people are getting attracted, but not so much youth.
И есть одна история короткая. Аиндра Прабху увидел сон, где Шачисута говорил ему что-то на русском языке.
There is a short story where Aindra Prabhu saw in his dream Sachisuta was speaking to him in Russian.
Аиндра Прабху смотрел на его лицо прекрасное. Он сказал: и как ты хочешь, чтобы я тебя понял?
And Aindra Prabhu was looking at his beautiful face and he was saying, and what do you think, how am I going to supposed to understand you?
Когда Аиндра Прабху проснулся, он подумал, что бы это могло значить.
And when Aindra Prabhu woke up, he was thinking, what would that mean?
И через несколько дней в Ашрам приехал первый русский преданный, в Ашрам 24-часовой.
And in a couple of days, one Russian devotee joined the ashram.
И с тех времен до сих пор много русских преданных в Ашраме. Не было такого времени, чтобы не было русских.
And since then, there is so many Russian devotees that are in the ashram.
И на самом деле преданные со всего мира приезжают, из России, Европы, Америки, Африки, даже сейчас. Все преданные из разных континентов есть в нашем ашраме.
And from so many continents, so many devotees are in the ashram.
И я хотел сказать то, что Прабхупада, он проповедовал молодежи. Но когда эта молодежь выросла, появилось новое поколение. То есть у преданных рождаются дети, и появляется новое поколение преданных.
Srila Prabhupada was preaching to the youth, but then the other generation would be coming.
И хотя дети преданных рождаются в семье преданных, это не значит, что они рождаются Махабхагаватам. Я сам из семьи преданных, но я далеко не Махабхагаватам.
Even though there are people born in a devotee families, that doesn't mean that they are Mahabhagavatas. I'm myself born in a devotee family, and I can't consider myself Mahabhagavatam.
Да, но по милости Аиндры Прабху, у нас есть все шансы стать Махабхагаватами.
But by the mercy of Aindra Prabhu, we have all chances to become Mahabhagavatas.
Потому что по милости Шрила Прабхупада и Аиндра Прабху дали нам возможность приехать в самое святое место во всей Вселенной и заниматься самой важной деятельностью во всей Вселенной.
By the mercy of Aindra Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada, we have opportunity to come to here in the center of universe and have these opportunities.
И Аиндра Прабху говорил, что самая лучшая проповедь — это если мы будем повторять Шуданам.
Aindra Prabhu said that the best preaching if we are chanting Shudanam.
То есть проповедь не имеет смысла, если мы не повторяем Шуданам.
There is no, preaching will not make any sense if we don't chant Shudanam.
Но лично у меня, до того, как я приехал во Вриндаван, у меня даже мысли такой не было, что что ну вот я когда-то в скором времени могу начать повторять Шуданам. Я даже не думал об этом много.
But speaking about myself before coming here, I never could think that I would be chanting Shudanam.
Если бы я хотя бы повторял Нама-Абхаз в этой жизни, я бы уже был счастлив. Я думал раньше так.
I was thinking before, like, at least if I could have chanted Namabhas, I would be happy about it.
Но и Аиндра Прабху говорил, что если мы повторяем Нама-Парадху, максимум, что мы это решим проблему пустых желудков.
Nama Aparat?
Yes.
Aindra Prabhu was saying if we're chanting Nama Aparat, the maximum thing we can achieve is the problem of the empty stomach.
То есть Нама-Парадха, она может принести какой-то бхукти, материальные блага.
Nama Aparat can bring the bhukti, some material gain.
Нама-Абхаз может освободить от греховных реакций.
Namabhas can clear you out from some sinful reactions.
Да, и только Нама-Парадха может дать бхакти. Только Шуданам может дать бхакти.
And only Shudanam can give you bhakti.
Да, и знаете, если и это не значит, что если мы сейчас не повторяем Шуданам, то мы не должны петь киртан в храме. То есть если кто-то из нас не повторяет Шуданам, это не значит, что он не должен петь киртан в храме.
And it doesn't mean that if one of us is not chanting Shudanam, we shouldn't be chanting at the temple.
Потому что Джагадананда Пандит, спутник Господа Чайтаньи, есть книга его Према Виварта.
Jagadananda Pandit, Mahaprabhu's